Ukraine's $120 million strike shatters Russia's southern line in one night. Today, Ukraine unleashes a coordinated assault that tears through Russia's fortified southern line, collapsing artillery grids, severing supply arteries, and dismantling Moscow's logistical backbone from Nova Kakhovka to Enerhodar. What begins with a Russian attempt to blunt Ukraine's river crossings quickly reverses into a calculated counteroffensive that exposes deep vulnerabilities across Russia's southern defenses. In a single evolving battle, Ukraine destroys more than $6 million in Russian artillery assets and escalates pressure until Russia suffers nearly $120 million in combined battlefield losses, including launch systems, convoys, fuel stocks, ammunition depots, and critical infrastructure. To understand how this shock formed, the story returns to the moment the first rockets fell. At 4:27 a.m. near Kherson, along the Dnipro River, the stillness fractured as Russian artillery batteries opened fire without warning. BM-30 Smerch systems, long-range rocket launchers capable of delivering cluster and thermobaric munitions, released a devastating barrage valued at more than $6 million. The sky pulsed orange as dozens of rockets cut across the river, their blast waves rolling through reed beds and embankments. This was not random fire. Russian commanders intended to sever Ukrainian supply routes and collapse the Dnipro bridgehead before dawn. Yet even as the smoke drifted across the water, Ukraine's counterstrike ignited with precision. Within 40 seconds, HIMARS crews near Dnipro entered coordinates into two launcher pods, valued at roughly $5, $6 million each. Their systems locked directly onto the Smerch batteries that had just revealed their firing positions near Nova Kakhovka. As the HIMARS rockets shot upward, swarms of $3,000 kamikaze drones skimmed low across the marshes, weaving under power lines to strike Russian radar trucks guarding the launch sector. The horizon lit up. The first Smerch launcher erupted in a massive fireball, its ammunition rack detonating in a series of violent flashes. The second system attempted to reposition, but a HIMARS round speared through its hull, flipping the vehicle into a twisted ruin. Ukrainian mechanized units immediately shifted into survival formations. T-84 tanks and armored carriers pulled back in zigzag patterns, throwing up dust screens to disrupt Russian targeting optics. Above them, Ukrainian electronic warfare platforms flooded Russian sensors with static. A Russian reconnaissance drone attempted to descend for target marking, but an FPV interceptor clipped its wing, sending it spinning into the river. What began as a defensive reaction was already transforming into a coordinated counter-offensive. Ukraine had initiated the opening phase of a layered, multi-domain retaliation. Minutes later, T-84 tanks, each valued at nearly $3 million, surged from concealed revetments along the Dnipro flats. Their engines thundered as they advanced toward a high ridge overlooking the river crossings. Motorcycle infantry teams raced beside them at nearly 60 miles per hour, weaving through abandoned trenches and broken orchards. Their mission was clear: seize the ridge before Russian reinforcements could establish firing positions. Halfway up the slope, a Russian ATGM crew launched a missile from the ruins of a collapsed barn. The projectile skimmed the terrain, but the lead T-84's gunner reacted instantly, firing a retaliatory shot that crushed the structure. Motorcycle infantry fanned out into two wings, firing controlled bursts and deploying smoke grenades to blind Russian thermal sights. Within 3 minutes, Ukrainian forces secured the high ground, a vantage point now aimed squarely at Russian supply arteries moving into Nova Kakhovka. Farther east, a Ukrainian special operations team crawled through irrigation ditches under a screen of electronic jamming. Carrying nearly $20,000 in magnetic mines, they approached a narrow asphalt corridor, the only remaining Russian resupply path still functioning after the earlier strikes. Mud-covered and silent, they planted the charges and froze as a fuel truck thundered by above them. 30 seconds later, every device armed, the kill zone was ready. The third phase of Ukraine's response came almost instantly. A swarm of $400 FPV drones descended from the western tree line like razor-edged insects. Their targets were fixed, a Russian logistics convoy already scattered and confused by the earlier HIMARS impact. The first FPV smashed into a cargo truck, sending a towering column of flame skyward. A second drone swept beneath a trailer's chassis, detonating its axles and flipping it aside. Within moments, the convoy collapsed into a rolling inferno, secondary explosions launching fire hundreds of feet into the air. The ground assault, the mines, and the drone strikes had fused into a synchronized offensive. But the battle was only shifting into its next phase. Ukraine's decisive blow would come from the skies. At an airstrip outside Dnipro, 2 MiG-29 Fulcrums and 2 Su-27 flankers roared down the runway. Their mission was high risk, but essential. Deliver precision strikes deep into Russian-occupied territory while navigating one of the densest air defense networks outside Moscow. Flying just 300 feet above the terrain, the jets hugged every ridge, tree line, and embankment to evade S-400 radars near Melitopol. For nearly 90 miles, they moved like shadows across the landscape, engines throttled low to reduce thermal signatures. A single radar return could have triggered a missile launch within seconds. As they neared Nova Kakhovka, the formation executed its maneuver. The lead MiG climbed sharply to 15,000 feet, pulling potential Russian tracking radars upward. Seconds later, the Su-27S ascended behind it. In a precise, coordinated release, all 4 aircraft deployed their munitions, GBU, 39 small-diameter bombs, and JDAM guided weapons. The first bomb ripped through the roof of a major ammunition depot, blasting a fireball nearly 1,000 feet into the air. Additional strikes followed, igniting fuel reserves and stacked artillery shells, creating a chain reaction that tore across the compound like a rolling wave of fire. Windows shattered for miles, and shockwaves rattled defensive positions throughout the district. Russian air defenses scrambled, but by the time SA-15 Tor and Pantsir S-1 batteries activated, the Ukrainian jets had already dropped back beneath the radar horizon. Their missiles streaked upward into empty air, chasing echoes. This strike alone eliminated tens of millions in Russian ammunition and fuel. One major component of the $120 million total losses Russia was sustaining during the extended engagement. As the smoke rose higher, Russian forces reacted with urgency. Air defense networks across the region shifted into full alert, SA-15 launchers scanning for low-altitude return flights. Pantsir units elevated their guns, and the S-400 system near Melitopol surged to full power, its radar arrays sweeping the horizon. But Ukraine had anticipated the response. From concealed sites near Kherson, Ukrainian electronic warfare trucks powered up. Their antennas emitted powerful bursts that flooded Russian radar screens with false signatures. Phantom squadrons of bombers diving from the northwest, fictitious fighter groups sweeping across the river. Russian operators struggled to distinguish reality from illusion, splitting their defenses against threats that did not exist. During this confusion, Ukraine launched the next stage. Long-range UAVs, flying at medium altitude, surged towards the transportation bridge at Nova Kakhovka. At nearly 500 miles per hour, the first drone slammed into the bridge's central span, detonating in a flash of fire and steel. Seconds later, a second UAV crashed into the southern support pylons. The structure convulsed under the twin impacts before sections of the roadway collapsed into the river. Russia's primary resupply route into the sector was severed in under a minute. Russian missile crews continued firing, but most interceptors exploded harmlessly in the sky, confused by the mass of phantom radar returns created by Ukrainian jamming teams. Yet Ukraine's operation was still not complete. The true strategic objective lay farther south, the Zaporizhzhia nuclear plant at Enerhodar, entrenched as a fortified Russian stronghold. To weaken Russia's control, Ukraine launched a multi-domain pincer attack designed to overwhelm layered defenses simultaneously. From the north, HIMARS batteries fired GPS-guided rockets into fuel depots surrounding the plant. Enormous explosions followed, igniting chain reactions that rolled across the perimeter. At the same time, kamikaze UAV swarms advanced from the floodplain, slipping through gaps in radar coverage and striking communication towers and relay stations. Portions of the defensive grid fell silent. But the final blow belonged to Ukrainian special operations units moving under cover of darkness. Having infiltrated close to the plant's perimeter, they activated laser designators, marking command hubs and fortified shelters. As rockets and UAVs descended, these designated sites took direct hits. The primary Russian command node coordinating southern defenses collapsed in a cloud of debris. Enerhodar, long considered untouchable, was now under precise, synchronized siege. Russia scrambled Su-35S and MiG-31S to intercept what they believed to be retreating Ukrainian strike aircraft. But Ukraine again employed decoys. High-altitude drones ascended deliberately to draw radar locks and missile launches. Meanwhile, real MiG-29S flew barely 400 feet above the Dnipro, shielded by the river's curvature and banks. On the ground, Ukrainian motorcycle units executed a disciplined withdrawal, planting mines along choke points and firing short bursts to disrupt Russian pursuit. Each detonation echoed across the fields as Ukrainian forces maneuvered towards secure positions. By sunrise, the operation was complete. Nova Kakhovka's depots were engulfed in flames. Zaporizhia's command grid lay fractured. Russia's supply lines were severed, and its southern defenses stretched more thinly than at any point in months. Ukraine had fused UAV swarms, artillery precision, armored maneuvers, special forces, electronic warfare, and air power into a single devastating sequence, inflicting nearly $120 million in strategic Russian losses. Yet one question lingered over the smoldering southern bank. If Russia's strongest fortresses could fall this quickly, which position would collapse next? Let us know in the comment section below.